welcome to a new episode of Weekly Chew. On today's show, we'll be showing you how to make Piggy Pockets with REZotto. Here's what you'll need for this week's recipe. You will need pork chops, celery, apple juice, chicken broth, onions, garlic, rice, apples, olive oil, salt and pepper, poultry seasoning, mushrooms, butter, and bread. Let's get started. We're going to start by preparing our bread for our stuffing. We're cutting them up into little pieces and then placing them on a pan, which we will be placing in an oven which has been heated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. What we're doing is taking the moisture out of the bread. Now we will place in the oven, and we'll keep an eye on it every once in a while, making sure that it doesn't burn or overcook. Next, we'll move on to the vegetables. We're going to cut 2 stalks of celery into small, tiny pieces. Once the celery is done, we're going to have a quick check of our bread, making sure again that they're not too burnt. We're only extracting a little bit of the moisture from the bread. Once the bread is back in the oven and the celery is done, we'll move on to our onion. We're going to be cutting 2 onions for this recipe, one of which will be for the stuffing and the other will be for the risotto. You want to make sure that the onion is finely diced. We'll give our bread another check. Once enough of the moisture has been extracted, we can set it aside and finish with the rest of our veggies. Next, we'll move on to cutting half a pack of mushrooms. The mushrooms, of course, will be for our risotto. Last up for the veggies will be our garlic. For our recipe, we're going to use 3 cloves. First up, we will skin them. Then we'll trim the ends. Now we will finely dice our garlic. Now that the vegetables are cut and ready, we can prepare our pork. We're using boneless center-cut pork chops, which have been cut to twice the size of a normal pork chop, because what we're going to do is we're going to cut a pocket within the pork chop itself. Now you want to be very careful because you're going to use a sharp knife for this. And what you're going to do is cut fat side on the fatty side. And what you're going to do is cut on the what you're going to do is cut on the fat side of the pork chop, a little slit, and then proceed to make a little pocket. Remember, you don't want to cut through the pork chop, and we're not butterflying them. You're just making a little hole, and then you're going to make as big of a pocket within the pork chop as you possibly can. What you want to do is make a slit on the fatty side and cut along the inside to create a pocket, like so. Once the pork is done, we'll set them aside and finish making the stuffing. But first, we'll place our 2 packages of chicken broth into a pot, which we will place on the stove and cook at a medium heat. Some of this will be for our stuffing, but the majority of it will be for our risotto. We're heating it up because when making risotto, you have to have warm chicken broth. But more on that a little later. Now we can finish with our stuffing by peeling 4 apples and then removing the core. For this recipe, 4 apples is all you'll need. Now that we got them peeled, we can go about removing the core. Once the cores have been removed, you can go about cutting them into small pieces. Now that our ingredients are ready, we can begin cooking the stuffing.